how you see the world completely changed. And to the point where we invented this new way of doing software called machine learning. You could just literally take all of the observed data in the world, you give it to a computer, and this computer is about the size of this room, would study all of the data in the world and say, figured it out. This is how the world works. That is ChatGPT. Literally took all of the data in the world on the internet and over the course of several months, looked for patterns and relationships that eventually understood words and vocabulary and syntax and grammar, and then you gave it multiple languages at one time, and it figured out how to correlate. I don't know French, but dog and chien. I think in French, dog is chien, right? And so dog and chien are really the same word. It figured out how to first of all, understand the languages of both, but it also correlated the two to the point where you could now translate. And so we created this architecture that is now a universal translator. And now you figured out if you could do it for language, but what if I could do it for images? And you correlate this patch of pixels that appears to look like a dog with the word dog. And when you can do that, then when you're shown an image of a dog, you say dog, and when you say the word, when you type in the word DOG, it now generates an image of a dog. And that idea, of course, Stable Diffusion, Midjourney, Sora, now we can do it in video. And so then you say, okay, well, if we created a system that can do that, what if we taught it a whole bunch of other types of digital information, like, for example, chemicals and proteins and video and 3D and fluid dynamics, and now, because you understand the meaning of all of these things, you can understand the meaning of a protein. And you could say, I would like you to generate a protein. And it would take a sequence of amino acids and it would turn it into the 3D structure of a protein. And when you can understand the 3D structure of a protein, you understand its function, what it's for. And that just won a Nobel Prize. That is that's DeepMind's AlphaFold. And so I just gave you some examples of what you could do, but the big idea here is that we've now learned the language of almost everything. We learned the language of images and videos and, of course, language, human language and proteins, and we could also translate it to anything. And so for anybody who's interested in starting a company, what I just described to you is a framework to think about what can you do now that you couldn't do before. And so, for example, you guys are doing golf. Let's say that you would like an AI just to record everybody's rounds, and instead of somebody going through the videos and trying to figure out which one of the segments were interesting and told the story of the round, you just have an AI watch the video, and the AI will watch the video and say, this is interesting. And from that video, it would generate the captioning. From the captioning, it could even voice over it, generate words, generate speech. And so you would go from, I said earlier, from amino acid to protein. Why can't you go from video to speech? And video to speech would basically be somebody who is a commentator talking about a round of golf, and it would only talk about the important things. It's interesting because if you could create that AI, after you're done, as you're watching that video, you might say, what did this player? How did Jim do in the last hole? So you would literally talk to the AI, and the AI would talk back and say, the last hole, Jim did this and that. And so from this framework, you could see the Cambrian explosion of startups. And there hundreds and thousands of startups are showing up because of this translation, this framework. But the important idea that I wanted to end up with is this. We reinvented the computer, whereas we used to code software, we now do machine learning. And so instead of humans, programmers, writing software, we now have computers write the software. instead of developing software, we're now using machine learning to create AIs. And that is the big transformation of our industry, that we're not making software anymore, we're now producing intelligence. And the production of intelligence has created a whole new layer of industry. And this layer of the industry, what it's going to augment is, measured in trillions, not in billions. And that's the remarkable thing about what we've built.